It's the final percent. The final percent.
All right, welcome to the Final Percent podcast with my good friend, Mr. Drew Dugan.
Hello, everybody.
So what we want to do is we're in show week, which what we call in the business of entertaining, of performing, of getting ready for the big culmination. We're there. Show week is happening this weekend. The Final Percent Summit is all coming together. Probably for better and worse. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect, guys. There's a lot of stuff we didn't know, but I'm going to say it's we have taken it up several notches from last year.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm super excited for it, and I think it's going to be good.
Well, what we want to talk about today is the idea of, planting seeds, the idea of being that catalyst, and Drew and I are the catalyst, and we kind of started this whole idea of the motivational album, and we hilariously did it on accident.
It's true.
We didn't know what was about to happen, and in a lot of ways it changed the trajectory of the Final Percent because we're adding entertainment into it. But the relationships that you have are why you are going to make it in the any industry. The relationships are extraordinarily important. Let's talk a little bit about where Prevail came from.
Yeah, so I actually have it written on some console tape on one of my pieces of gear in the studio. The word Prevail with a little smiley face next to it, as a reminder of kind of where it came from, which is a longer story. It was 2011. I was sentenced through the courts to a treatment facility. We'll call it rehab in layman's terms, in Arkansas. That's where I got my dog Bella as part of the treatment. The treatment facility is called Capstone. And it's in Searcy, Arkansas, and it's definitely an interesting place. Arkansas is an interesting place. Hadn't been there before, and was in a super bad spot. And I remember a number of times, kind of trying to pull or hang on to or grab onto, reach out to something else in some capacity to help pull me through. And in doing so, I would write the word Prevail on walls or in notebooks, because at a certain point when you're super down and, down and out, you are reaching for something to pull you back in. And for some reason, that word made sense to me, that I could prevail through it. I don't think at the time it was necessarily for the best reasons, meaning I wanted to prevail in order to get back to having fun and partying as a young kid and not being tied down. Mm-hmm. And then over time, it definitely turned into a much more professional and positive and meaning behind the word. And then Greg helped me get back into making music in more ways than one after all of that stuff and going to KMG, as I was in a halfway house, and then I still wasn't really making my own music at that time, and I sort of started making some stuff in Ableton again, and Greg had said it's amazing and was really stoked about it, and I remember being like, really? Is it though? Because for a while I didn't believe in myself, and I think that's what it all came down to. So all it took was one person to believe in me. And anyway, fast forward a little bit, I was making a beat with no true purpose for it, but called it Prevail. And oftentimes I'll kind of think of it as a whole song, not just a beat. Any song is a beat first usually, and then becomes a song. in some capacity.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
So wrote this cool thing. It's kind of wacky, and then brought it to Greg for no real reason than just to show him, like, when you're talking to the person that helped reinstill that belief in yourself in order to make music, then when you do make music, you're like,
And when this happened, this was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, and when you make something, you want to show that person and be like, I'm still doing it, like, check it out. It's almost like if it'd be like similar to a parent and a child, and the child's like, look what I did.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt like that sometimes, because Greg is you're the one who like instilled that belief back in me. So it was exciting to show you things, and still is. And anyway, you basically said we should write to it, and we did. And
so the funny thing is that Drew didn't 100% realize at the time, but I mean, going through COVID was one of the hardest things that I had to do to try to navigate our company through, and when Kayla and I were sitting there, we had that word popping up, and we had that word making a very big impact on us. And so we would say, we need to prevail. How are we going to prevail? And prevail just kept showing up. And I don't know if it was like the energy or whatever, because in the facility that we were in, we were in the same building, but he was kind of, several, you would have to walk outside to get over to where Drew's office was, even though we were at the same facility. It's kind of disjointed because we just basically took a bunch of suites. And when he first brought over the beat, I didn't listen to it right away because, quite frankly, I was just really stressed out, and I wasn't in a good mindset to want to listen to anything. And I remember looking at it because it unfortunately, it was one of those things where, hey, have you listened to that yet? No, I'll get around to it. And then, because I think he airdropped it to me, or something happened to where it kind of changed the name to where it was like, all of the numbers in the file.
Audio _ 1 5 10.
Yeah, whatever. Exactly. And so I didn't really know. And then he said the word prevail, and I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? And I thought like he had heard me and Kayla talking, and then he said, no, the song's prevail. And I was just like, wait, really? That's interesting. And so I really sat down and listened to it, and 20 minutes I called Drew back in the room, and I had most of the chorus done and all the first verse. It was like a bolt of lightning. And we proceeded to finish the tune, not in one sitting. It was kind of we had one where it was, we recorded it here, one where we recorded it back at KMG. I did part of the speech in a hotel room in Dallas. So it kind of all came together. But after we heard this song, Prevail, and after Drew kind of explained to me what the word meant to him, and how the word itself had so much power that it helped him prevail. And we said, what if we did a whole album of one word songs like Prevail? What if we did a whole album that would help people, kind of their soundtrack to the comeback, as I've been saying. And so we have, songs like Freedom, songs like Believe, songs like Be, Questions. Everything's one word, so it's really easy to just get the vibe of what the thing's going to be. But this album would not have existed without Prevail. Prevail was the very first song that happened, and it got born out of, such adversity. And there's no way you didn't have the same thoughts that I did. Are we going to be working together in a year? Is KMG, does it still exist in a year? What are am I still doing music in a year? And somehow we had this song that became an anchor that, so Drew and I are in a company called Keep Music Going. And this song, and through one another, it kept our music going. and it birthed this entire album, and then it changed the idea of the conference to where now we're doing a concert at the end of the conference, and it's a little crazy, right?
It is, and it definitely grew into something pretty powerful and meaningful over time. You know, I remember at one point we talked about adding some marching snare drum. I think,
This is a great story.
This
is a great story.
I just love, who doesn't love good marching snare well, maybe people don't, but it's amazing.
And just to be clear, guys, every single piece of music, like, so I did the words and the singing, but literally every snare, every piece of music, every guitar, everything on this song, that's all Drew. Like he came in and he's the one who, when he said a lot of songs start as a beat, that's important because the beat needs to inspire the singer. And, you know, I'm always the person running around trying to inspire people. And in this moment when Drew brought this song and it hit me in the soul, he's the one who inspired me through his music. And I didn't even realize that, you know, when he had showed me beats, probably 8 months prior or a year prior, something like that, when he had shown me all of those things, I had no idea I was planting seeds in him so that he could plant seeds in me later. So, like, in a way, I re-inspired my own music a year prior.
That's true.
It's pretty crazy. But tell the marching snare story, because we were sitting around and we were just like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. And then
so I went and bought one. And those aren't cheap. Like a real nice.
And he got like
one.
Basically the best one you can buy.
Yeah, I found a good deal. It was used one time by someone in Boulder, like a college student, and it's great. And then we put that on there and layered it a lot. Used some really nice microphones, which was fun. And you know, I just had a thought too about the whole beat versus song thing. I think in this instance, it was a song kind of first. I think a lot of beats start out as just beats, meaning there's not necessarily a meaning or an intention behind it. This one was different in that it started out with very much an intention behind it.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, helped make it powerful in what it is.
Yeah.
And then we also, towards the end of the chorus, had some of our more advanced students at KMG, the Keep Music Going Company, which is a school, if you don't know, for audio and production, and we had them all. We chanted "Prevail,"
Yep.
you know, and I'm not
Prevail.
gonna try to do it, but
Prevail. Okay,
yeah, that's right. That's how it went. That's how it goes. It's really, really a good song, and the story behind it is what's so powerful, and that's an important thing to remember too. Is that, you know, it's a common sales thing and just life thing. You know, people want to know the story behind something. You know, I tell my students all the time that blog writers for music don't write about, oh, he did this, you know, G over F sharp, weird, you know, dominant 7 chord in, you know, bar 32 of the second verse. They don't do that. They talk about, you know, he made this in a van in Ohio, or something. Like, the story behind it is what's important. And, you know, from hardship comes growth. And so I think that's one of the big themes or motifs here is, even in times of trials, they're actually good. Anything bad is good. You should seek failure, because from failure comes success. So don't seek COVID, though. You know what I mean? Because I think we should all. That was a thing no one was seeking. But anyway, when bad things are going to come up,
maybe don't seek failure, but maybe embrace it.
Yeah, that's fair. Seeking I tried that for a while, and it doesn't always turn out well. But I guess at the end of the day, it does, no matter what. So,
you know, one of the things before we go, and we're gonna. I think we should probably do like a 3 to 5 part deep dive on your story, just because it's so powerful. But one thing that I think you glossed over that maybe not everyone caught, but when you were going to KMG, because you started off as a student.
Mhm.
Now you're one of our absolute best teachers. But when he started off as a student, he was in a halfway house, and that is really incredible if you think about. I want you guys to get to know Drew. He will inspire the best out of you. Follow him on @BellaBeats, right?
Yeah.
Instagram.
.music.
And just reach out to him. But he started out halfway house and just a student basically pressing the restart button or the reset button on life. And he ripped through every single program we have. And I mean, the intellect, the passion, the work ethic showed up at such a incredible rate. It was very fun to watch. And then he TA'd for a long time, which is teacher assistant. And then he became a teacher. And then he became, the chief academic officer of our entire company. And then he became an owner at the company. And as of November 1st, he is going to, because Kayla and I are going to take paternity and maternity leave, and he's going to step in as our interim CEO. And I just think that it's important for everyone to understand that story right there is where all of the passion, the emotion of the song is coming from, because Drew literally went from the bottom and restarted his whole life. And I mean, there's some statistics on, especially, I'm not going to give away too much of his story, but there's some statistics on the level of drug use that was happening and the kinds of things that were happening where, it's like 1.5% or 2% of all the people who are in your circumstance who get out of it, who actually press that reset button. And I mean, I think you are the epitome of prevail, but if you look at those statistics, you're the epitome of the final percent. You are that. And I think making sure that people understand that you are not done, and you are not, the world did not give up on you. You should not give up on yourself. And there's always a reason for you. And I think with more people hearing that story, you are going to save so many people from that dark place where they just go, you know what, it's time to give up. I'm not going to be here anymore. And so I just wanted to really make that clear to anyone who's listening, that just Drew's story isn't just one of, hey, I kind of messed up, and I messed up as bad as any human possibly can. And now I'm going to be the CEO of the school that I went to. Talk about prevailing, right?
Oh, 100%. And going back to the final percent thing, and this, it's interesting how things end up working out and who you end up coming across and why you and I are so akin and stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess that was something I really latched onto and going to the school. I was like, who's this Greg guy? And he seems, different. And
for better and worse.
That's fair. And that's the same for me, though. Like, I am different for better and worse. I go the final percent, and sometimes a few percent over.
That's true.
That's a possibility. And previously in my life, in a pretty negative kind of destroying way, and with the final percent, it's all about doing it in a positive way. But it's literally what I've always done, and who I am is going, that more common term, hopefully soon, not the extra mile. And I think going the final percent, that'll replace that term, just so you know, guys. You can be using the right terminology there. But it's really cool, and that's what the final percent is all about. At least for me, I guess for everyone, it's kind of can be your own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't give up. Going back to what Greg said, I appreciate the kind words, and
it's just facts.
Big facts.
Big facts, bro. Well, and that's the thing, people often are always telling their story from what they consider the end. You know, they like look at I started from the bottom, now I'm here, or I'm poor or I'm rich, or I've made it or I have not. And I think everyone's in a state of flux all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
And you know, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, what does success look like? Or no, let's say 3.5 years ago. If you would have asked me 3.5 years ago, what does success look like? With tears in my eyes, I would have said, I just want to have a kid because we had gone through a pretty bad miscarriage. And now Kayla's pregnant. She's in her 8th month of pregnancy, which is super rad. But the moral of the story there is you know, if you would have talked to me 5 years before that, you know, I want to stand on stages and I want to do this, or I want $1 billion. And 5 years before that, I want to stand on the Grammy stage. And 5 years, so success is fluid, and there are some people out there who want a private jet. And check this out, that's okay. Some people want $1 million, awesome. Some people want $100,000, awesome. Some people just want a family. Some people just want to buy their first house. Some people just want to buy their first bicycle. Everyone's version of success is different and needs to be respected. So the best that we can do, and this is why I don't like the tribe thing, our tribe, our way. I think it's complete bullcrap. And I truly believe in the idea of a village. A village has different ages, different ethnicities, genders. Everyone's welcome, and everyone has a different version of what success looks like for them. And that's why there are going to be people that listen to Drew's story, for instance, that are going to resonate with it, and he's going to save their life. Where if those same people listen to my story, they're going to go, oh, well, this Greg guy's an asshole. I don't like him, or I don't want this, or he thinks everyone needs to walk in his shoes. No, I don't believe in that at all. If anything, I think that more people need to come together, tell their stories. We just need a platform where more views and more philosophies are welcome. And that's one thing that I really like about Drew, and why I love, you know, running companies with him. I love the ideas. I love where we go, because he's one of the only people who has gained my respect enough in this, in my own company, to where I'm like, hey, I want you to be an owner. Hey, I value all of your ideas. Hey, and he makes me better. Why? Because he challenges me. And vice versa. You know, if you say something, I've got no problem saying, hey, this, and this. Iron sharpens iron, and that's the biggest thing is, you know, make sure you're around people where you really want to hear those ideas, and you don't think that just because they have a different point of view that they're attacking you. And that takes a secure friendship. It takes a secure relationship. It takes really good communication. And most people, oh, I didn't like that idea. Oh, you hate me. I'm quitting. I don't like you. You know?
Yeah, well, it's like the Don Miguel Ruiz book, The Four Agreements. One of those is don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
I think that's more apparent now than ever. I just recently reread that book.
It's such a good book.
And that specific one right now in today's day and age is just like, you know, very important to remember. And I just had another thought too. It's kind of interesting how your belief in me reinstilled your kind of belief in music with Prevail, and, you know, believing in me helped me to start making music again. And then you were just talking about on the company side and business side of things, that developing between us. And one thing I had thought about is, you know, those ideas that I have and being like, we should do this or we should do that. You know, I think at a certain point, people don't believe in themselves to have those ideas and mention those ideas. And so find someone like you, know, not like Greg per se, but find someone that you can connect with and be friends with and partners with in different capacities that will do those types of things. So where, you know, you'll instill belief in each other to then reinstill belief in yourself. And like, I mean, that's a really cool thing.
And I know that, you know, we're going over on my normal podcast thing, but, you know, no, don't say apologies. You know, with you and I talking, because we have so much that we've done, so much that we're going to do. One of the things that I think is important for people to know that, and this is why I'm apologizing, because, you know, normally I'd rap, but I think that this is another really good, or a really important distinction, is a lot of people will get around people who make them feel good, and
Yeah.
they make them. And so it's one thing to do what I call, be a confidence builder. What I call myself is I'm a competence builder. Because if you look at it, if you have confidence, it's short term. It's not always confidence does not always lead to competence. However, competence always leads to confidence. And so one of the things that I want people to understand, that what we're saying is belief is being able to believe in what the other person's saying. And here's what I mean by that. You don't want to be around someone who always thinks all your ideas are great. You want, if they say your idea is great, you want to be able to believe that they actually believe that, not are doing what's called gaslighting you. And Drew can attest to this. If I don't like an idea, I will literally tell you immediately, no, I think that's a dumb idea. I don't think we should do that. And here's why I don't think. And the reason I do that is because I always say I want to deal with problems head on and immediately. And I say it immediately and I voice my concern immediately so that we don't go down the wrong road, or someone doesn't say, well, Greg, why didn't you tell me it then? And I think it's important to know that belief is not always this kind of motivational seminar thing. It has very much to do, if Drew brings me an idea, and if I tell Drew, dude, I really like this idea, he can believe that I absolutely I mean that, and I'm going to back him 100%, because he knows without a doubt if I didn't like it or I had questions, I would ask those questions. But not every relationship, this goes back to the trust that we've built with one another, not every relationship is strong enough to do what I call having a fearless relationship. Now, what does a fearless relationship mean? That means I'm not scared to ask you a question. I'm not scared to voice my opinion. I'm not scared to do this. That's because I'm very secure in who we are as friends, colleagues, business partners. And there's a lot of people out there who turn into those yes people, and they think that that's being a good friend. That actually is destroying your friendship without you realizing it. I just recently, had a pretty nasty breakup with old, friends, and it really came from the fact that they planted all their seeds and planted me being friends with them before I really adopted that mentality. So I gave them nothing but passes. And I gave them nothing but this, that, and the other. And so when something would happen that I didn't like, I wouldn't voice my concerns the same way I would with basically I became, say, Greg version 3.0. But just for certain people in my life, I was still Greg 2.0.
That's a cool concept. I really like that.
and so the problem is when I have this upgraded software and I'm building all these great relationships where we can believe what's happening, on these other people,
Windows Vista.
Yeah, I was Windows,
or whatever.
I was Windows 3.1.
Yeah.
And so the operating system kind of stopped working, and it's no fault of anyone. It's just, we live and learn. And I don't think that it's necessarily it's everyone is getting better, but you want to be able to know without a shadow of a doubt, does someone have your back? Do they actually love my idea, or are they gaslighting me? And that's why I made a promise to myself, if I don't like an idea, I've got to let them know. How fast can basically anytime someone is talking to me, I am trying to figure out how fast can I say no. And that's one thing that Steve Jobs said, was very famous for. He said, when you say yes to 3 things, learn how to say no to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And when I really started saying no to more things, and some of these things I really wanted to do, whether it was, singing more, my own music with Kayla, going on trips, one of the billion companies I tried to start when KMG at one point was 17 different companies, which is just so dumb to me now. But I had to go through the process to realize, oh, okay, So I said yes to, like, right now my yeses are family, the final percent, and KMG. Those are my 3 yeses. And I'm going to give absolutely everything I can into those things. And that's why, right now my personal music, yes, it's going to be put on the back burner because I've learned how to say no to certain things. And the great thing is if you're a good leader, you develop other leaders. And so now I have trusted Drew so much. I've seen him in action so much. He's going to start really taking KMG off of my plate, off of Kayla's plate. So then I can say, okay, what else can I put there? Then maybe because all way back when we had our conversation, when you came to KMG and we planted those seeds, somehow yet again, because Drew's going to lead KMG, I get my music back and I'll have more time because you'll be our new CEO. Maybe we drop the interim tag after the 3 months. So it's important to understand the seeds that you're planting and how they can really serve you. And if you look at the seeds that are starting to serve me now, it was all because I planted for and in someone else.
And sometimes you don't know why. Or what it's going to turn into.
And sometimes you just got.
Sometimes it goes bad.
Sometimes, yes. It doesn't always work. Not everyone gets a Drew. I just want to point that out. But it's important to make that distinction, and then also just help people without exception or without expectation. Just it shouldn't be a transaction every time you help someone. You want to know why you should help someone? Because it was the right thing to do. You want to know why you should believe in someone? Maybe because they need to borrow some belief because they don't know how to believe in themselves anymore. And now watching Drew lead these kids, I mean, how many kids are you inspiring and motivating and helping on literally a daily basis?
More than one.
More than one. Exactly right. So, just it goes back to that old church thing where, if you have one candle lit and everyone's holding a candle and that first candle lights the second candle lights the third candle, pretty soon the whole room is lit up and that first candle's flame is not any smaller, but everyone just got brighter. So I think it's important to understand that. Here's what we're going to do today, guys. Instead of ending with the final percent, we are going to actually cut in the song Prevail so that you can hear it. This album is coming out this Friday. It is going to be available on Spotify, on Apple Music, Amazon, basically anywhere you could possibly stream music. It is going to be available. Please look it up. It is called The Purple Explosion, and this is the song that started the entire idea. This is the song that planted the seed that made the way for all of the other songs. Prevail is the snowplow for the other 13 songs on this album. So without further ado, here is Prevail.
Came like a thief in the night, without warning or sign. Who am I? Why am I? What am I supposed to do? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm not feeling good. When my mind acts up and I don't know who to be. Go this way, that way, ain't feeling strong. 'Cause the days and nights are so damn long. And I take one more step, and I take one more breath. I've got so much more to give, and so much life to live. I will prevail. I will set sail. Can you feel the life building inside? We must prevail. I must, you must, we must. We gotta, we will, we need to prevail. I will prevail. my God, I've been wondering why do I have to fight so damn hard? Day in, day out, my ups, my downs, I pull myself up. 'Cause I know I have it in me, so I'm gonna fight day in, day out. I'm gonna ride through ups and downs, 'cause life happens for you, not to you. Can't steal my spirit. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I will prevail through thick and thin. I will prevail. I will prevail. I will set sail. Can you feel the life building inside? We must prevail. I must, you must, we must. We gotta, we will, we need to prevail. Yeah. I will prevail. Victim of circumstance, not me, not you. We were meant to be our destiny. We were meant to see our destiny. We were meant to experience life, love life, live life. So when life gets you down and it starts beating upon you and you feel like you can't take another step, you feel like you can't go another day, I need you to remember this word: prevail. Overcoming against all odds, overcoming what you thought was impossible and becoming the greatest version of you. Prevail! I need you to say it with me.